It is important to understand the process of circulation, that is, the movement of blood throughout the body. This process requires a pump to propel the blood and a looping system of tubes that carry blood away from the pump to all parts of the body, and then circle back to the pump. This is what is called a closed circulatory system, where a pump, the heart, moves a fluid, the blood, through a circular arrangement of tubes, arteries, capillaries, and veins, to all the tissues of the body and then back to the pump to be repeated over and over again. Let's begin with an overview of this process. Situated in the center of the thorax is the pump, the heart. This is a dual self-regulating muscular pump that drives the blood throughout the body. The pump is divided into 4 chambers, 2 pumping chambers and 2 receiving chambers. The right pumping chamber, the right ventricle, pumps blood containing carbon dioxide into vessels that carry blood away from the heart and into the lungs. These vessels are the pulmonary arteries. Arteries are efferent vessels, meaning to carry away from, because arteries always carry blood away from the heart. The left pumping chamber, the left ventricle, pumps blood containing oxygen away from the heart to all the tissues of the body. Because this large branching network of arteries is headed to all the systems of the body, they are referred to as systemic arteries. Within the lungs, exchanges occur in the blood between carbon dioxide and oxygen molecules. The resulting oxygenated blood then returns to the heart through pulmonary veins. Veins are afferent vessels, meaning to carry toward, because veins always return blood to the heart. The pulmonary veins return the blood to the receiving chamber called the left atrium. Within the body tissues, exchanges again occur between carbon dioxide and oxygen molecules, but this time the oxygen leaves the blood. The now deoxygenated blood returns to the receiving chamber called the right atrium through systemic veins. This provides you with an overview of circulation. That is, blood is forced by the dual pumping ventricles through efferent vessels called arteries to tiny exchange vessels everywhere in the body before circling back to the heart through afferent vessels called veins. Now let's take it a step further and explore a simple schematic to get an even better understanding of the basic pattern underlying this process. This illustration represents the circulatory system. It depicts the dual heart pump, the pulmonary vessels or circuit, and the systemic vessels or circuit. So let's begin. The ventricles pump blood to the pulmonary and systemic circuits by forcing the blood out of the heart into a large single artery that exits each ventricle. The pulmonary trunk from the right ventricle, and the aorta from the left ventricle. These 2 large arterial trunks then branch, like a tree, into first medium-sized arteries, which then continue to branch into smaller and smaller arteries that are dispersed through the lungs in the pulmonary circuit and to every part of the body in the systemic circuit. The small arteries then branch into tiny arteries called arterioles, meaning little arteries, which penetrate into the tissues of the body. The microscopic arterioles then continue to branch into the smallest of all blood vessels called capillaries, which form an extensive branching network within the tissues of the body. These vessels are so small and so well distributed that almost every cell in the body is near a capillary. It is here at the capillaries that exchanges occur. These exchanges involve a variety of different molecules that move through the thin capillary walls between the blood and the air spaces of the lungs, and between the blood and the interstitial fluid that bathes all the body cells. This exchange renews the water environment that surrounds the body cells. Let's examine this microcirculatory exchange in more detail by noting the exchanges that occur with oxygen and carbon dioxide. Note that the systemic arteries carry oxygen in the blood entering the capillaries that supply all the tissues of the body, while the interstitial fluids around the cells and systemic capillaries contain carbon dioxide molecules, or byproducts of cellular metabolism. Compare this to the pulmonary circuit, where the pulmonary arteries carry carbon dioxide-laden blood to the capillaries of the lungs, while the neighboring small air tubes in the lungs are filled with oxygen molecules from the air we breathe. Now watch carefully as the blood moves through the capillaries of both systems and the oxygen and carbon dioxide moves through the capillary walls to change their relative locations in each system. This constantly ongoing process renews the blood, nourishes the cells, removes the waste, and is happening constantly as the blood circulates through the body. After the microcirculatory exchanges in the capillaries, the microscopic capillary tubes join together to form tiny afferent or return vessels called venules. The tiny venules unite to form small veins, which unite to form medium-sized veins, which eventually converge to form the pulmonary veins of the pulmonary circuit and the large caval veins of the systemic circuit. This completes the circulatory pathway as the blood returns to the heart. This, then, is the pattern of circulation: a muscular pump driving blood through a circular system of tubes to supply all the cells of the body with needed nourishment and fuel, while removing the waste generated by cellular metabolism. As you watch the pattern of circulation one more time, realize that it is essential to understand this basic pattern of circulation. I encourage you to learn it well, because it forms the foundation for additional aspects of anatomy that we will explore.